Good morning, happy people. My name is Jay Song. Today is December 31st, 2025. We're about to enter a new year. I hope that you guys are doing really well. All right. I hope you guys are doing very well. Happy New Year to all of you. We're going to start with ALB. A-L, the B-I-B-L-E. Yes, that's the book for me. Stand up on the word of God. That was the only one. The B-E-L-E. Let's see what we got here. December 8th. This stock appears to have new accumulation from buyers. Not the recent buyers, not the last recent down moves. This up move has only one candle, so a close above 1.7172 would help confirm the buying area. If so, I would be bullish this stock up towards 308 area. Current price is 167. Today's price is 170. I wrote another comment in December 13th. ALAB stock. The stock shows signs of buying after health appeared. December 12th bar may also have buying, but only confirmed after price breaks above 1.71 and phases into the next health. All right, so what are we talking about here? We were tracking the smaller down move between this area and this area. And when we started showing signs that we're phasing into this area right here for ALAB, this is a very positive area. This would have been our first health somewhere here. So we started looking at the volume. We would want to see the volume rising on the down moves, high volume bars like this on the down bar into health indicate signs of smaller buying. If we see this on a larger scale, that's a good thing. If we see it in an uptrend, that's even better. So overall, you can see we have an uptrend since 2024. Here's 2025 in April, and we have lots of room. And so now we're in an uptrend. We can track the higher parts of the chart. It was closer to 301. Now that number is going to go up the track. So the next higher number is going to be somewhere closer to 323 in January. And that's going to give us a lot of room for the high side. But primarily, if all you were doing was hunting down moves in an uptrend, we're in an uptrend, and we hunt a down move, this is the last down move we would want to cut. So we look for that down move. That's the fish swimming the wrong way. We look for signs when we get on this side. Now we're here. Okay, now we're here. So price is phasing into this area into health. So here's December 22nd, 23rd, 24th. So we had first those original healths. Highlight. Health started appearing here in this quadrant. We're going to calculate for event line. That's event line. You duplicate event line angle. We already did that. You click it right in place, and the next health is easily seen. So this is where the next health should be. In my opinion, ALB is in a strong position or has a chance to move up because of these things right here. Okay, so this is a positive territory, more or less, for this stock. All right. Anybody have any questions for this stock ALB at this time? It was requested on Monday. But we've done this one quite a bit. So if you were giving this a lines, we'd call this Event Line Phantom or EVP. And this would be our EV. This would be our original key angle watch line. Okay, so there's lots of ways we could label this if we wanted to give that a label. All right. All right. Anyway, in my opinion, that's doing just as what we should be doing. Okay, if things go bad, things go south, we got some supports closer to 106, 102, but I would be holding on to get back to the highs, up possibly even to 328. So let's just do a quick update for us. And December 31st, LAB ALAB stock. This stock is moving as expected. I believe this is in a strong position to move up. Signs of health in the background. Current price 170. Upper resistances near 323 in, what's the date was? January. Is that February? January 26th. Average. All right. I'll leave that there. This was gonna, let me turn this white because we have more confidence now, we can draw something like that and make it more like this. So that's going to be something we're going to be more expecting, upward movement on this type of thing. We'll see how we do. Okay. Questions, that stock going once. Questions, that stock going twice. All right. We do less requests on Wednesdays because I like to slow things down and show you some things that are cool. So we'll see. All right, USDT.D does not have any huge updates or anything. And also, I will have to refer you to our Wednesday session, but just suffice to say, remember, as always, this is the kind of curvatures we look for. When you see those curvatures happen and price breaks above those areas and sits on top of those areas, it's very important. Here we sat down twice because it's a very easy thing to see the structures change, that things should be moving higher when you see those kind of things. That was something that happened back in 2026 of October. And now you guys remember publicly in October, I told everybody, hey, I think the markets are going to crash or start moving down. I think the markets are going to be very bearish for cryptocurrencies. And this was, what is this from? We got stuff since April of 2026. So April, June, July, it was a strong downtrend that looked something like this. So in the downtrend, you can see that we can hunt some of these moves and health starts appearing, although we don't just immediately go up. You can see that we were still falling down the mountain and a bit before going into those areas. So we had this change area that was happening here. We needed to understand this area in its context, the flats, the targets, the intricacies that were going into that, the buying on the down bars, down moves, the volume that was changing in this game. We can see the volume was rising significantly on that down move, but the move was into health. This was buying by the professionals. And we talked a lot about those in those days and seasons over the summer of what was possibly happening. We also saw where the next bullish run should happen, and that is when this is bearish, because as you remember, when this chart goes down, cryptos go up. When this goes up, cryptos come down. So we understand those seasons, and a lot of our targets that were hit on we faded them away because they were hit a long time ago. So that's our a little bit. Now the reason I'm mentioning that kind of shape is because, in my opinion, I believe that shape is happening, but now on a much larger scale from way back in the day. So we're talking now October 2023 and September 2024 and a part of that April. So that April peak was part of another larger thing that was happening, in my opinion, is we were developing this parabolic right here. And so when price was building above this and breaking above, it was a very important crossover event. And that was this health approximately here in November of this year, 2026. Now, when this happened, by default, we need to be thinking price is going to be moving higher. Does everybody understand that? It's exactly the same kind of thing that happened in the past. And we see this on lots of cryptos too. When you see this shape happen and price breaks to the upside rather than the downside, look for things to go higher. Here, this is now on a much larger scale. We're looking for this to move higher. In addition to all of that, we had a smaller up move that was in here, and that's triggered approximately here, but the territory was delayed. So you see this yellow border around there. So this means that things should be bullish to delay, and it very means that we have a short-lived bullish window. The problem was even of that bullish window, we failed to hit the lower target at 5.7% area. We even had target system right here and a few other, and the original parabolic was leveled out right about there. But you can see that we just failed to go. All we did was go down to event line, and this was our event line angle. And if you take that angle and you bring it to the downside, which is right here, we only sat on the angle and went right back up. And this is very telling for this move, because if it can't even hit the bottom, that means the pressure or energy to move to the top side is so strong that this is going to be that this is a very good sign that this should absolutely be going up. Because as we talk about in lesson number 1, over the years, many times, what happens at targets, what happens in trend lines is just as important as what doesn't happen at trend lines. So if you have a resistance and price goes to that resistance and fades through to the other side of that resistance, as if the resistance didn't exist at all, you need to be thinking to yourself, why is this happening? Don't just say, oh, maybe I was wrong. No, you were right, especially if you can verify your data. Most of the time you're right, but you need to understand that's a sign of health. price. People get confused with trend lines and trend line type of theory, not just because the trend lines alone are maybe difficult to draw. I hope in these classes we've made things very easy for you guys to draw, but not just for that, but primarily because people don't understand price moving in and out of those trend lines. Sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. So people feel all over the place. But we teach you in lesson number 1, what happens at those lines is just as important as what doesn't. So when in this case, there should have been a resistance here. In the past, it was resistance in this area. But when we phased into the positive side, we moved up here. You can see that we were entering into a period of health. But luckily, there's little clues that are left behind, such as price sitting on top of those areas. You can see that the down red candle just sat exactly where it should, and then we go up. Those are the kind of clues that get left behind in the markets all the time. And we need to understand what is happening in the game. So my opinion, when we failed just to come down here, but rather went to the top, and then we had another health by the fact that price was now staying on top of this area. And even the wick match area was approximately here. When this occurred, the health that is here and the health that is here, and we're breaking here to the top side, that was a very big tell structurally of what should be happening next. So that's a very strong case in my argument that what we're looking at is rather health to the upside than anything else. In addition to all of that, we have the larger round structure as shown on the 6 and 12 hour chart that is now showing up on the daily chart. So the 6 and 12 hour chart show the up move should be curved like this, and it is absolutely still to this day showing the same curvature even on the daily charts. So the daily charts are showing this curvature that is more now larger about here, and we're still in these positive areas. So the supports for these days are somewhere around 6.3%. And that tells us when things go underneath here, we get a little bit of reprieve. The market should be bullish in that time, but for the most part, we're still up in this territory, and we're getting much and much closer to what's really going on in the market. Okay, I got just a little bit more to share about this, and then we'll move on. So if you guys want to hide your favorites bar, you can. I'm just so used to not using it. I don't like it on my chart. It bothers me. So I'm going to just take that off. All right, and that's how you guys can do that. All right. So anyway, where I'm at, where I believe the market's going based on the larger story and based on the higher volume. As the last thing, as a reminder, everybody, we've already calculated this area right here in volume. First on the first area, then the second area, and then finally the third area. And we've measured these. And it's quite easy to see the volume kept increasing at the challenge area. And that means that for the sellers that we're calculating for, the sellers are losing the battle. Every time they go out to battle, they're fighting against a bigger and bigger army. And it's easy to see that they lost. When that happens, if sellers are losing, that paints a story primarily that prices are going to be moving higher. That it definitely paints a story that we're going to be looking to move higher is where I'm looking to go. So I'm going to be looking for this to break definitely to the top side. That's my opinion. A lot of people don't agree with that opinion, but that's currently where I'm at. I could be wrong, but I'm reading this as a whole. I think this is a dangerous area for the charts, and we're going to have to see. Now, if I'm wrong, again, you guys can draw some of these curvatures, some of these moves yourself. We're going to now draw one more new one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the volume. I'm going to draw the angle from this bottom here, and we're going to draw and collect the larger curvature. So this is going to be the larger up move that we can see. And so again, if we do have a weakness, you guys will be able to see it, and that gives the markets a chance to become bullish again. When this goes down, the markets are bullish. So let's see what will happen. I'm going to draw an angle first, something that looks like this. And this will be the first area where we'll see that where the markets are safe to start taking bullish trades, or safer to take bullish trades. And it'll be like this. 1, 2, 3. Let's bring that swing up right here. Okay. So it's going to be something like that. So I'll leave this image for you. And what you're going to be looking for is moves here. And then what you're going to want to do is take target system, and then you can draw your lows based on the target systems. Now, since we have two highs, we're going to use this one right there. And since we have two lows, we're going to use this low right here. Okay. So we're going to measure from here to here, and then it's going to give us targets on the bottom, and we're going to see where those will be out. So in addition to the smaller stuff that's playing out locally, we're now drawing this new one since October. It looks like somewhere around maybe September, mid-September. It's about September to October, and then we're going to be going all the way till about December, the high in December, maybe December 15th or so. All right, so let's do that just a little bit officially, and here you go. If you're just tuning in, please be aware that TradingView had another update, so stuff gets moved around, and I get thrown off a little bit. Okay. Now, since I already have yellow here, I'm going to use a blue color, a light blue, and we'll make it big. Okay, now I'm going to adjust this a little bit high, and we're going to make sure that we collect all these areas, and that's going to give me something like this. Okay. All right, so our bottom currently is going to be somewhere around this area here. Weakness will be approximately here to here. Again, 5.72 will come back into play when that happens. Otherwise, the bullish area is here, and we're now have an easier chance to see where the wedging comes in. And so they all come together at this area approximately there. And the number on average is 6.60%, which is about the same of where we're at right now. And the time is somewhere now up to February. So February, it looks like price is going to have to make a decision whether it's going to come back into this delay bullish area, and then we're going to have some nice bounce around in that area, or if we're going to go higher. So that would look something like a strong move down like that, and this would be the strong move up. And that's our big takeaway about what we would be expecting in those seasons. So this would be a very bullish type of maneuver in this quadrant, and we'd have chance to start trading bullishly again for a short time. But I'm already on high alert. That's probably not a safer thing to do, in my opinion. That's my opinion, because when we were already had a chance to do that, we didn't even get down just to a local bottom. We got very close, but we didn't get to where we were. We didn't really even play here. We just hovered just right at the area of event line and went right up. So we'll see what's going to be the case. Ultimately, those are going to be the big decisions that prices are going to have to make for USDT.D. Do I have any other big questions at this moment about some of the things I'm seeing in the market? I will put on target system, but I think we've already done it. I think those are the targets already. So we'll just adjust target if we need to. And think of your questions now. Okay. No, it's okay. The numbers are already on the board. Yep, the numbers are there. We've already done it. Yeah, that's a great question. That is a really great question. I will take a quick look, but from what I've done in the past, I don't see anything new that would tell us, that would help me, that would tell me otherwise, that we're going to really reject strong at 7. 7, by the way, for context, that's right here. So that's on the board about 7% average. I calculated on certain cryptocurrencies, I calculated a more shorter reversal. So for a lot of cryptocurrencies, what that means is I don't expect a straight crash. I expect some kind of bounce a bit, and that gives people time to react. I saw a lot of that. So for example, if I was looking at Bitcoin, I see Bitcoin coming down, but I also see a bounce up. So I see that where that bounce could be easily. On a lot of cryptos, if I see it coming down in the map or the data in that next territory, calculating for that territory, I see little bounces. So I see a lot of that going on for you guys. I would say you're going to be okay because of that. Not a strong rejection to change the game enough that the game will look more like this. And we'll do it when it's time, but it will look something like this, in my opinion. Something like that. 7, small bounce, not enough to stop the game from hitting up there. And that means if we do, the markets are going to be a very low position for a lot of crypto. Somewhere up here, we're going to really do some calculations though, Alex, to look for a strong reversal, and that might be the perfect time to buy cryptos because they'll be really in the dumps in those days. It might be. We're going to talk about those. Okay, we'll need to check the volume and stuff. Any other questions? My opinions on these things. 4.48, 4.363 is the adjusted number. I brought this down to the lower target, compensating for the second bottom here. We just stretched that bottom out, as I just told you guys when I was drawing the picture earlier. These are all going to be more or less, the targets are still in the same area. And that's going to be if we play in those down areas. So if the USDT.D gets a chance again to start playing a bullish game, and you guys say the markets are going to be bullish, we should primarily be doing that underneath these numbers over here, and that number is going to be closer to today, closer to 6.221. Okay, so we're getting below 6.221. We have a chance to start really coming down. I will draw something like this so you can visually see it and these all just continue going up the track. And in fact, I'm going to also draw a compensate for these two. So I'll do something like this, and then I'll draw a smaller arrow. Because I always say, oh, we'll talk about it when it's there, but you guys can anticipate it if you want to. This is what more or less I expect. So with a more statistical probable edge, I'm leaning towards these areas here. Yeah, I'm more leaning towards these areas. The moves that are down in this down move, touching all the way to 6.61, I still have high volume or aggregately high volume. I know there's a lot of buying in this area. Okay, that means the buyers are still playing the game, but the fact that they're playing the game is definitely of note. Okay, definitely of note. They are buying. We broke to the high side already, and now we're still playing here. So I think the next stop is back there, and we're going to be doing that in the market. You guys can draw a smaller trend line like there, a smaller watch line, but in my opinion, get ready, guys. Get ready. In fact, I'm just going to borrow that one. Okay. All right. Any other questions, my friends? Going once. Going twice. Okay. This is what I see. Let's do it. That seems to be all the questions. I don't see anything in the chat. All right. December 29th. Oh, no. 31st. 2025. Why does Song always spend a lot of time on USDT.D? If you know that chart, you know the whole market. This crypto shows signs, shows continued signs of health. This is negative for crypto markets. Next smaller health is closes on the daily chart above, and I'll give you a smaller number, that little line right there. Currently, the number is 6.37. But the larger health that triggers a strong negative activity, crypto market activity, is when price builds above 6.628 average. From there, moves to 7% areas, and back down a bit, and then moves towards 8 to 9%, 8% and 9+% areas. Now we remember Christian had dreams, so we were in the 9s, a little higher than 9. It was 9 something. So we're going to say 9% area. All right, good. So I got most of that. Next, today we added a new curvature on the bottom because we can. Today we added a blue parabolic curve. Current bottom is 6.22%. Prices building below there are bullish for cryptos. This is one of the first health, I should say, but technically the second. I don't trust a bullish market at the moment. Price failed to fall during last opportunity. Volume indicated a higher move in price on highest time frames. This has not changed. 5.7% is a strong floor for a bounce. This is not currently in play. A move there would be bullish. A rejection there may be strong. All right, and that's about all the things I need to say for this chart, because you guys have almost everything you need to know in one little picture here of what I'm expecting in the market, what is danger in the market, what is when there's hope in the market. And right now, all we are is just in this little trapped between a rock and a hard place, right? It's a little bit of a delay area. So we're really going to need to let the game tell us what's gonna be the play. Moves below there are going to be very bullish, and moves above here are going to be very bearish. All right, there's no more time for this, but we will copy and paste that just quick synopsis for everybody, just as a reminder. It's more or less the same content since October, but now we're just closer, and we have a new time element that's towards February. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, closer towards January, February. Okay, I should have added that, by the way. Finally, due to the parabolic curve, price must make a decision by February 10th. Okay. And what we mean by that is that price has a chance to actually move. If it continues the same, it will come into the lower side, and that would be health, because the curvature will just automatically start hitting until it comes to here. So if price just stayed the same, it will be a weakness, and that would be bullish for this crypto. If it moves up, then it would have made a bullish decision, not make a decision. Okay, so that's all of that. Okay, we're gonna do CYDY. It looks like I've done this stock before, so let's take a look at what we have. All right, let's pull up a 2-week chart. Stocks is always a good practice to start with a higher time frame. They move longer, they build longer, and slower than cryptos. Strong volume, but at the highs. So I'm going to put a lot of emphasis on this. Strong volume at these highs. Stress importance. And that's going to be both on the top side or on the low side. I don't always draw every color dot for you, but basically in general, if you see a red one, you can put a blue one on the opposite side. If you see a green one, you can put a red one on the opposite side. All right, so that's that. Those numbers are already on the board. And then we saw the volume start rising here, primarily on the down bars. So we have these two down bars right here in very strong volume. We had high volume within that bar. We had a close all the way near the low, but it went this high. On the down move itself, it's here, but some of that could be viewed as what the volume was like up there. So that's going to put some stress on this area of resistance, and that's exactly what we see. So we have resistance closer to February and closer to April in that area. That's perfectly in alignment with what we're looking at on the weekly chart. We still have strong volume as we crossed over a smaller resistance here. So that's going to be part of a pushing. That means that there's an intentional move. There's a lot of on-purpose action that is happening in this area. So that's going to be a very good thing. That means that, hey, they're trying to do this on purpose. So this is going to be part of our pushing. If we wanted to label this, we could quickly put maybe a little arrow here, and we're just going to call this right there, the crossover bar, going to be somewhere right here. We'll call this pushing. possible pushing or pushing. And that's, other teachers would call this like an aggressive behavior. And that means what the big takeaway you want to look when you're talking about pushing is it's basically on purpose. Okay, they're doing this intentional. And that is going to stress the flat or the sword cut areas where you would have cut. So generally we draw sword cuts in orange, but if you wanted to, you'd be thinking, oh, we got support here. Now we're going to bring this into play at this moment. Because of that pushing, I'm going to look to see that, but I'm also going to put support because we also have the high volume as we cross over this candle as well. We're just going to mark both, okay? And how I would probably want to label this would be like here and here, okay? So therefore, I'm going to put a little rectangle sword cut somewhere here just by filling in that bar and bringing up the opacity. So I got that one, and I got this one. And to save time, we're just going to draw one and just bring up the rectangle to those crossing over. So now we have a range for support. So I would be looking for myself to say, hey, this is possibly where we're going to find the next supports if things go down. And that's going to be 20 cents, 20 to 14 cents. This stock's currently valued at 25 cents. Okay, so that's great if we need that up there. I think that's really what I had for you guys last time, and that's about all I want to show for this time. Okay, I don't see any major weaknesses coming into this just yet. I got a lot of emphasis on my flat, so we can draw another weakness just below that flat if you wanted to, but you don't need to at this moment. It's not in play. It's about right here. Okay. So this is a good map. Any other questions for me regarding? Yeah. We're gonna make it. Well, let's do target system, and if the targets are if price is on the top side of those targets, that makes more of a bullish case. If the targets are all here, it makes still a bearish case, so we're probably gonna find a better price later on. So let's just do that. We're gonna do the broad one, and then we'll do the more narrow one. But we'll start with the narrow one. So I got two tops. We're going to use the highest one and the farthest one out. And then I'm going to bring it to the very bottom, approximately around December 30th of 2024. Okay. And that's only going to give us targets near the high, so that's a good sign. That's a real good thing. Two targets. And they are going to be approximately that little one up there, near $4.47, and the other one here closer to $1.90. So I've drawn those for you, and what we'll do is we'll stretch those out, and it's a good clear wide range. So if we do keep moving higher, I would be looking at those. If you guys are part of our community and you're not using target system, you're missing out. It's awesome. Very accurate. We get a lot of hits, very accurate hits. You can add it to any type of trading system you use. My purpose here is to help make sure you guys have good maps and have art so that you guys can follow along, have a method by which you can create your own maps with or without me. I want you guys to all be successful because this type of art will serve you well, especially after transfer type events, or you guys start coming into a lot. You'll need to see weaknesses in health and price moving in and out of its map. Okay, we'll draw another resistance. Since we're probably rejecting here, we're going to draw a possible resistance. I'm just going to do something like that. But the intensity won't be as strong. So I'm going to give you guys something like this to watch. In case we start rejecting, come back here, that's going to still more solidify this top. And this is going to make this more of a delay type of area. So it's going to be a bit of a health, but still resistance maybe based on the flat that is here. So what I would do, since it's health, but it's also resistance, primarily it's going to be, we're going to borrow this one and we're going to make it a health, but we are going to change the border. So I'm going to do something like this and change the border to a red border. And this is something I do sometimes, showing you that it's a type of delay bar, which means that, yeah, there's some health in here, but we're also right there under the resistance. Now later on, this will be two separate events, and you can just give it a yellow border if you wanted to. But since we're right there in that little crevice, and I'm going to use that one for, that's how I'm going to view that. Later on, I'll just show you guys this. So you can preemptively add these if you want to. I'm just going to give it that border now, yellow. So it'd be like a delay to there. But right now we're like, it's either resistance or it's health. But we're still in the crack, so you're going to see nothing happen. This would need a maneuver, in my opinion. Depending on the strength and intensity of this line, you would need a strong push just to get to that side of the territory. When you do, then you have a chance. And I see that a lot in the markets. You'll see stuff get really dicey, and then you'll just see them appease. And Tom Williams talked about that. He would say that he saw areas on charts where they needed a lot of money. Otherwise, what happens, psychology, is these areas get flooded with supply, and things just get back and forth, and nothing happens until things are clear and defined. So they would often target cryptos, stocks, he said, and they would do it almost overnight. In the overnight sessions, they would have large orders come in the mornings, and it would just put them in before the trading really gets a chance. And these people who were about to sell, they stop selling. They just say, I'll be okay. And that helps keep things alive. So that's if they're launching a campaign here. And my opinion is it's very possible they have some new money coming into these, but not the most clearest defined for this stock. But I would say it's going to be more clear after here. Okay, so that's what I'll put in my final comments for this. December 31st, 2025. This stock's bullishness becomes more clear above 0.35 cents. Supports are better near 20 to 14 cents. Weakness is clearly seen better under 10 cents. Okay. So if we were drawing some arrows, they might look like this in the areas of importance. I'd be looking at something like that. If I was looking at this game, I'd say, that's probably better. Okay. Target system added. Resist current price. 0.21 cents. Large first target at 218 to 174. So very strong opportunities. I just wait until we're a little safer, probably. All right. Any other questions? Going once, going twice. Okay. So CYDY. All right. The next one is going to be TOSHI. What did I write here in TOSHI? 0.00029 is a nice support. But remember, the market may reveal soon a strong weakness that will affect much of the crypto world, making it difficult for even accumulated cryptos to rise. December 17th, I wrote this. Support at 0.29 is likely to be hit again, which we're there right now, okay? And hit again. Breakouts above 0.073 width structure is needed for longer health towards 65, which is going to be closer to the top side up there, okay? Towards the 65 areas. All right. And let's see. Weakness is under 0.00029 is to be taken with more seriousness, with 0.00081 as a first in the support. So what I'm saying is if we get below here, this is an important weakness. Okay, this one right there. It's very important. If we do, you're going to be looking towards here. So far, I said we're going to probably hit 29 again. We hit her close to November. Now we are December 25th, and we're here again. So I'm going to say that's complete, and let's take a look at the weakness. All right. So the first comment I'll have is December 31st, 2025. 0.0000 or 3029 was hit again price, and then we're going to take a look to see if we're building below this weakness. Now, what's wrong with this chart? Can somebody tell me what's wrong with it just by looking at it real quick? It's not that they're big. That could be something, but not so much that. Look carefully. Look close. Zoom in. Somebody help me here. I'm new. What's wrong with this? Part of it's they're big. Bam. That's right, house. You got it. All of this makes for a very volatile crypto. When you're due, if you see volatility like this, let's take this moment. This is going to be a great teaching moment. If you see volatility like this, I want you to don't pay attention very much when you get those notifications that price moved 100%. Because price can easily fall 100% or more. Okay. The reason these are is because the average volatility is something you should be taking into account. Think about it. The high price here was 0.0069. So we're just going to say average 70. And the low within just 3 days was 0.0003. That's a huge 34. Okay, 7034. It's a huge disparity in just 1, 2, 3, 4 days. But the average was also these kinds of things. Okay, look at the percentage gain or lost. Is that really tradable? 80%? I moved 80%. Yeah, but it fell also 80% in a single move. Is it tradable? Generally, no. Especially if you see these candle types. You got to be careful. Not enough liquidity. Okay? Not enough market cap. Look at all these ups, downs. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Wow, price. I got a notification that TOSHI rose 44%. Yes, but it fell 44% the very next day. 44%, 44%, 44%, 44%. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be real careful, these kind of things. Look broader. It's much better for you to think more in terms of larger structures than the individual moves. And that means if price is moving 40% on average per day, volatility, both up and down. The only way you're going to be successful trading those types if you're range trading micro intraday stuff. And then even then, be very careful. But that's really how you'd want to approach a crypto like that. Not that you can't approach it, but you'd want to be trading those intraday stuff if you could. And generally, sometimes it's not lucrative if the spreads are too expensive per your exchange. If it is, you can trade short trades only. Don't try to trade the big stuff. In my opinion, it's much more wiser to take the larger swings like this, even the peak, things like that, and the overall round structures. And then use those to trade. Okay? Don't use a single bar as your confirmation, but rather the whole structure as a whole. In my opinion, this isn't a negative area. We have to calculate for our event line. We're going to calculate for event line. Let's do it together. It's approximately about there. Event line. What is the next step? How far is price supposed to fall? Event line. If this is a larger weakness, and very important, maybe it is, maybe it's not, we can recheck that. The last event to happen is going to be here and here, so we have to calculate that on average, right? And that's about where it is approximately. Where, therefore, is how far is price supposed to fall? So we can calculate where TOSHI is going next. Arshad says we clone. Yes, we clone this. That's right, Arshad. Then what do we do after that? That's right, somebody drew it. We bring it exactly there. That's correct. We bring it to the lowest energy center, generally in between those areas. In this case, it's here. So therefore, we're looking there. So at the moment, if we had to give ourselves an estimate of about how far price is supposed to go, we can get a good, clear estimate for tomorrow's price and today. So the price is going to be a certain quantifiable number. The number is 0.000 between 1.4 and what is this number? 1.1. So we're going to say about 1.3 to be a little bit conservative. 1.3. Does everybody get that? That's going to be event line, phantom. So this will be our event line phantom, or what we just call EVP. Got it? Now let's see how this works in terms of our larger map, okay? Let's see in terms of our larger map where this may place us. What was the number? 0013? All right. So 00013 falls somewhere about right here. Let's duplicate that phantom right now, and let's give ourselves a price label. The money that's in between TOSHI for a short, I don't know if you can short it. You may be able to short it. Measure is closer to 100%. So very volatile, guys. Very volatile towards the EVP. It's 100%. That's a lot. That's huge. So the tradable range is acceptable to see price moving between 100% to around 40% average moves within a single day. So this is really volatile things. Okay, now something else. We measured that curvature there, right here. This one we measured. That one showed signs of weakness. That one's already basically done. And then we drew a larger one recently. And let's just continue that curvature. And I'm going to be using these points and as primarily the core, and that means I'm going to duplicate this curvature here. So if I'm wrong, we can always adjust it. If you're wrong, you can always adjust it. But what I'm doing here is I'm getting the base curvature. If these candles are not the ones that you really want to use, go to a higher time frame till the candles are more smoothed out, and that's something you can also do. Now in my daily chart, this is only showing up on the daily chart, so let me adjust these lines so that they show up on the higher time frames. And what I'm going to do for that is on the toolbar of that trend line, I'm going to click three dots, visibility on intervals, and then I'm going to click on all intervals right now. So when I go to the 2-day chart or a 3-day chart, it should show up. So here's a 2-day chart. Let's go to a 3-day chart and see if it still shows up, and it's still showing up. Now we do got this exception to the rule, but I think the bulk of this, in my opinion, is this, okay? That's, in my opinion, I think that's the bulk of it. So I think that's the core, okay? Because it's on the daily chart. So I got a curvature, therefore, of something like this, and this is how I'd recommend to draw it if I was recommending how to draw. Okay, so I got these points here and here. So you guys can recreate that. So price moving here, therefore, especially if we're rejecting on the underside of this area, is a weakness. Therefore, we calculate now this weakness. So this is again why I said if we're building below 29, this is going to be real important, because 29 is somewhere right in that pocket at that moment. Or is it on the lower side right there? Is it the lower side? Okay. So these two weaknesses are going to be very critical. And event line weakness is going to be the nail in the coffin. So I see, in my opinion, weakness coming into TOSHI. TOSHI has a chance to survive, but if it doesn't, we're going to be looking again closer to the bottoms, 95 to 60, which is going to be a number here. I think we have it on the board. It's these old flats. And then we're going to be on our way down, and we're probably going to be looking at a support somewhere there. Well, let's put that on the chart as well. And then we'll close this with some things. So I got 000081. I got Phantom closer to 11s, and then let's give you the Phantom for, this is February 2020. This is February 2026. It's closer to 11, which is a little lower than 12. This one's going to be about the same, so let's just put that right on here, 0.0008. This is where you gain a 0. I'm going to put that on the bottom side, about in the center, and then we'll put that weakness there, and then we got a good map. Let's put some arrows for us. If TOSHI is going negative or cannot survive, we'd be looking for it to fall. How far? Probably the next Phantom. And then I only have one more thing to show you after this about this chart. That would put more stress on that one. That would balance. Okay. That would balance almost exactly. Yeah, that would balance a lot. So this area right here to the core, and it's about the core, we can see it, is about the same distance as the wick on top. So what I mean by that is if I was measuring this area and this area, it's the same. And this area to the middle is also exactly the same measurement. Does that make sense? There. A little lower. So this is the same. 50%, 50%, and therefore we're going to stress this oscillation. So a health really could be drawn above 0.003, 3.1. And a weakness, another weakness, could be drawn below here. Good. And the map is coming along. 0.000021. That's where we got to get into 5-0 territory. So that's real negative, if that happens. So we could view that as a little support. We can view that as a resistance. So let's put that on the map. So we'll put a health above there, 0.0026 average. All right, so the map is coming along nice. Okay, and so we can break that up into two pieces. And then finally, we can draw something like that, if that was in play for this crypto. And I think, was that everything I wanted to share about that one? Yep, support with the flat, event line, EV Phantom, and I think the health. All right, so let's throw some conclusions. Now that we built a map, let's put some conclusions on the board. What can we say about this one? So 29 was hit again. As previously discussed, 0.0029 is important. What is it? 3 zeros. 0.0029 is important. Weakness. But a new weakness below the green line, already is in play from, and the date was sometime this year, right? From December 12th. 2028. This green line is a parabolic that shows a strong oscillation, and I need to take a break to show you that oscillation because I forgot to add it back to our chart. I took it away and now I'm going to show it again. So once we have the base curvature, we're going to take it. Remember, don't move it to the left, don't move it to the right, keep it straight where it is and move it straight up and down, and we're going to click it in the highest energy centers, primarily in the foundational area. Okay, if we have some kind of verification, that's good. In this case, we somewhat do here. Okay, right there. Now, when we have that verification, we're going to take that oscillation and we're just going to now measure the oscillation to the downside, again, straight down. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take that curvature again one more time But this time you're just going to click it in the lowest areas there. Now, I'll give you an exact measurement, but this is more or less how it's done. And what this tells me is that when the parabolic levels out, and it's going to level out somewhere about right here, you can use that as a type of support. And also a type of continuation indication of weakness. Because remember, lesson 1, what happens at trends is just as important as what doesn't happen. So we would view something like that. Then now let's get you the exact number as best as I can. And I'll just do a measuring line. We're going to do this art together. So where's my trend line? And I'm just going to take a trend line anywhere, straight up and down. And then I'm going to bring this in place. So this is going to be a little bit here. And then all of these should be lined up for the most part. And they are. All right. So the measurement will be pretty exact. That means this gets raised a little bit to where it levels off. And what I mean by level off, I mean it just goes like that. So about right there. Okay. If you wanted to, you can now fade in, fade away those highlighter tools that you make, or just keep them in the background just to show your work, show you that you measured correctly, more or less. So now the number is going to be somewhere, a quantifiable number. And I'm going to just borrow this little price note here and duplicate that. And I got a price on average of around 0017. So the green line shows the oscillation, which is price moving back and forth. Strong oscillation with support for its phantom. And at 0.000017. To create this phantom, we used the center line as the key angle. Okay, that means the center. This does mean there are two phantoms. Now we already have lessons about this from our parabolic and mid-phantom transformation parts in Sword Method 6.0 and 5.0 in the filming. If you're new to our community, type in the word lessons in the lessons bar. It's going to show you our page. Click on show more. It's going to show all the lessons. This does mean it has two separate phantom angles. The top does have verification. Therefore, the bottom is also held in importance. Importance projected out and leveled out at 0.000017 area. All right, so that means if worse comes to worse, we got some nice, beautiful supports for us, and we can project all of these prices into the future, and that's an awesome thing to do. All right, so there it is. So that's going to be our more appropriate map and our current appropriate prices. Any other questions, comments, thoughts on this area? This is basically more or less what you're going to need to know about this chart. Oh, you're trying to get out of it? Yep, absolutely. So let me copy and paste this for our notes. Yeah, definitely can be dangerous at this moment. Okay. All right. Now, I want to say something before I do that. Some of you guys are bullish the market, and that's fine. You guys can be bullish the market however you view it. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion, of course. But if you are bullish and you see a crypto that is not serving you, it's not meeting your requirements, don't be afraid to cut your losses. That's part of your discipline anyway. Remember, there was a great interview by a millionaire trader not so long ago. He said, I take so many trades that I cut losses on quickly. He says, people saw how many trades I get out of. They'd be like, how are you even a millionaire successful? You don't have to be, you can have a lot of trades, but you need to be disciplined and cut your losses quickly. Otherwise, you're going to stack up losses. You're like a casino gambler who doesn't know when to walk away from the table. Everyone can see it in hindsight. He says, I'll enter like 12 trades, but really I only keep 3, and I'll cut all my losses really quickly the moment I see that it's not right. He says, it's not looking good. It's not moving when it was supposed to move. It's not enough. Oh, weakness appeared. Cut my losses. He doesn't say, oh, hope and pray, because that's the surefire way to lose a lot of money, hoping and praying. House did something really great right now. He says, you know what? I don't like the liquidity in here. I want to find a way to get out. Where's probably a better place to get out, if we can find one? Now, we probably can, but the truth is that's the kind of thinking that's going to keep your capital. It's going to preserve your capital. By that means your portfolio money, because you only have so much money to trade it, right? If you guys are trading, you only have so much money you can put in that trade or that trade, only so much percentage in here in that crypto. And you may have 20 cryptos. The Bible says invest in 7 ventures, for you do not know what will befall the land. Because you can't trade anything, you should probably have at least 7 something of something, or at times even just being out of those positions. But even if you're bullish the market, if you see a crypto that's not doing what you're supposed to do, please use discipline, minimize your losses, cut your losses. Don't use the hope and pray method. It's a terrible method to use, the hope and pray method. Better to visually see what is happening with your favorite cryptos using our art or another type of trading system that you guys may have available to you. Okay. Now, smaller time frames below here get very sticky, right? Because the candles already don't make sense. We've already shown you this. So if I go to a 12-hour chart, it's only going to get worse. If I go to a 6-hour chart, it's only going to get worse. So how can I find a more appropriate way with this? One of the things you can do if you are doing this, and I don't always recommend this, but I will just give you this as a little tool. One of the things you can do is you can use something we did in the very first version of Sword Method. We were often just drawing in a blue highlight the major areas. Okay, and you can always still use those structures to your advantage. And one of the ways you can do this is by changing the type of candle you're using. So we're gonna go to this the second bar, which is right here. Oops. Is it not that one? Ah, right here, that one. So I'll take a picture of it so you guys have. This is not always something I do because I like the candlesticks, but you can use this one. And when you do, you can click on it and change it to line. Okay, line. And line is something you can use. You can also use Renko, although I don't use Renko a lot. And you can just get a more smoothed out image of the larger story. So we can see that more an average top for this one is going to be somewhere about right here. And we're at a top. That would be in a top. And then more of an average bottom is going to be something here. I often use gesture myself. That's how I like to trade gesture. And if I can get the top parts of gesture, I'd be fine. So I'd be looking more towards that price. But we'll do it just with Renko alone. Probably a good exit price would be near the tops. And currently that's going to be moving down rapidly. And that's going to be about 28 and 27. So even if it pulls back up, we're basically there. So that would be a conservative exit for this crypto, somewhere along that line. When we're below it, you're getting a worse price. When we're above it, you're getting a better price. So if you're going to get out anyway, try to get as close to the line or above the line. All right, so that would be if you can get away with it. I'll give you the other one that I like to use, and that's just line. Itself is line. It's that one, okay, right there. And it's going to turn it back into a line, and now you can get a good solid gesture for the curvature. And again, it's going to be something that's smooth out. So if I was trying to pick the gesture, it'd be somewhere here, and that means that the top side would probably be some of the best prices you can get out. And that number is closer for house. If you can get it, I would say 0, 0, 0, between 3, 4, 3, 3. So I would say 3, 3 is probably going to be the best prices you can get out. Current price 2.8. So with price moving about 40% a day, up and down, that's probably going to be doable. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Going once, going twice. Okay. All right, let's go on. We talked a lot about this. That's awesome. We added it to our large notes. So TOSHI. Come. December 8th, December 17th, December 31st. We see what else is on the menu. Did we do everything? All right. Okay. I want to make sure I get everyone at least a chance once. I'll do houses look on TUT. If you guys have one more request, give it to me. We got just a few more minutes left, and I want to make sure that you guys are having a good practice with their maps, following along, building some of these. TUT on Binance. Okay. Okay, is that for tutorial? Okay, tut. I'm gonna add this one right here. Here we go. All right, let's see what we got. Let's turn us back to candles. Oh, that's a good one. Question. Arshad says, if you have time, can you teach how to select any crypto for a trade upwards or downwards? Yeah. All right, so this crypto, a similar problem with liquidity in the past, a very similar problem. These cryptos become very volatile. Let's take a look at what the volume was telling us here. Oh, interesting. All right. Okay, that's going to be about most of what we need to know with this crypto. I'm going to paint a little bit of a picture. So let's go to 3-day chart and see if I can more or less show you what's happening. Let's take about a few minutes and look at the volume of this chart. What observations do we make as price is going higher? What is the volume telling us? Where price is going higher, significantly higher, we went from 0.02 cents all the way to 10 cents. So we moved quite a bit, about 300% move, right? 330% move. The volume's going, what is the volume doing? What is the volume doing as we're going up here? This is a 345% move. But what is the volume? It's decreasing. Someone took their foot off the gas. Okay, decreasing. Decreasing. If we're going uphill and I take my foot off the gas, that's dangerous. Foot off gas. Because eventually the car ends up slowing down. Okay, you can't go up forever. Now, what about these bars here? What type of close did we have on these large bars here where we do see some activity? Okay. We see this high volume come in again. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. But let's just talk about the bar, the bar itself, not that one. Yeah. Okay. We got these high volume bars here. What is the candle? What observations can we make about the candle? Okay. Yeah, maybe a lot of buying, but the price came right back down. We went up, we came all the way back down and closed. It could be selling pressure. We are closing near the low, right? So this is a strong observation to make. Closing near the low slash, yes, closing near the low. These candles. So here there's a high and there's our close. Okay, there's the high, and there's the close. Right there. Okay. Now, of this, we saw this play out a few times. We saw it here, and here, and here, right? So 2 times we get this. And they're on high volume. Now, generally, we're going to view this as selling, but generally we only view it as selling after we have confirmation of the weakness. There's a problem with that. The problem with this, that thinking, and that's correct thinking, is that we don't have time to respond. We got a very strong close. Price moved all the way far down off the chart. Do we have time to react to that type of thing? The answer would be no if we waited. So if we waited, we wouldn't have time to react. Let's put that in our notes here. Okay, I'm giving you guys some logical conclusions on how we can actually visualize this and navigate this. Normally, selling can only be confirmed by moves into weakness. At least using our art, and other popular volume analysis teachers will tell you a similar type of thing. Okay, only weakness. Problem is that with this stock, or this crypto, price moved so far down into weakness, it could not be acted upon using this train of thought. All right, so what would be a solution? How could we have caught or exited the trade or shorted the trade and made some money on the way down? How could we have tried to navigate that? Does anybody have any bright ideas? Okay, we're going to talk about a solution in just a moment. So let's see what you got. Solution. Okay, we could... So the weakness isn't going to help us because we can't respond. It's so fast. Maybe a daily chart. Right? So maybe a daily chart would have helped us. I don't think that's going to help us. I don't think it's going to, but we'll take a look. So that's done. Okay. We'll put a little question mark for the solution. Done. And then let's pull back up the chart. So let's say we're on a daily chart. Does the daily chart give us time to respond waiting for the weakness to set in? The answer is no. Okay. The answer is no. The daily chart does not give a chance to react. Therefore, another solution must be found, be used, I should. All right, so what is the solution? Does anybody know? What would be the solution to this equation? How would we have known or to get out in these? What we would have used or done besides waiting till we fall and then exit at such a large loss? Okay, an exit here would mean a large loss. This is not practical. Another solution must be found. Come on, put on your thinking caps. How could we have responded, therefore, to this? Okay, let's see. Waiting for the next sword cut. Okay, hot mic house. Sword cut would have been really... We just blasted through sword cut. So we wouldn't use sword cut, right? We couldn't use sword cut. So that would not work either. Anyone else? Okay, we would have blasted through sword cut, so that wouldn't have saved us. What would have been a proper solution? Okay, we'll put up 1 more minute and then I'll let you guys, then I'll give you guys some answers on what we might have done. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna put a little box solution here. And this is, I really hope these lessons are helpful to you guys. Solution. Okay, nobody? Going once. Going twice. House, go ahead. Yeah, real low. Yeah. Okay. That's what I was getting at. That's the solution, House, basically. In reality, the solution is quite simple. This would be a dangerous trade in the first place. Price was moving up on lack of interest. This can easily be seen in the volume. This can easily be seen in the volume during the entire year of 2025. The foot was off the gas. Then the volume was very high for a few days. All of them had closes near the lows. This was the warning. The exit, therefore, was then when the warning signs were appearing. Does that make sense, my friends? Not after. See, if you wait always, you can follow the rules to a T. But I've learned from a great many teachers, I gotta be careful saying this online. I have some very old teachers. We'll say that. And these old masters tell us all the time, you're not supposed to follow the letter of the law to a T. And we don't mean we're not talking about the Bible, although that's part of, maybe that has some applications in there as far as the disciples teach. But when it comes to practicality, you need to understand the essence, the heart, the spirit behind the message. If you have rules, but you only follow just your rules and you fail to see the warning signs, you don't need to let all of it play out in its entirety. You can see the danger and react accordingly even before the danger comes. You don't have to wait till they're knocking at the door trying to kill the baby, if you're Joseph, to take Jesus to Egypt, because then now you have to fight the soldier and you have to sneak out the city. He was warned in a dream. That was when he should have taken action. There are warning signs that are going to be screaming at you that you need to take action, and you don't have to wait until things get bad before you take that action. So this was the answer. It was quite simple. The answer was not waiting, but seeing and just responding to what the data was already showing. Okay? The answer was in taking action. The answer was in taking action when the warnings were screaming. Okay? And that was screaming there. Why are we having all this? Not that one, these ones. Why are we having all this volume closing 3 times off the highs when in the background we had lack of interest? So we pay attention to the background. Okay, always pay attention to the background. All right. And again, this is these kind of lessons and having you think background. Having you think through these practically is going to save you a lot of money, because when you start thinking like this, why am I taking these trades? Why am I entering this crypto? Why am I doing this? Is it because a YouTuber? Is it because somebody in the community is promoting it? Is it because JSong's promoting it? Why am I taking action? Why am I doing this? Do I have a reason to do it? If you don't have a reason, you be very careful. All right. Now, let's just finish up talking about this, okay? So that was the solution for that. We used that as a little example, okay, to that issue, to that problem. And that was good. That was great. Now, let's go to later on. So we really dump, and we get very high volume into the dump, but the move is further down into weakness. If there's to be buying coming on, it could have been buying on the down bar, but the fact that we're still moving down is a very big warning to us. So I have to be really careful with a crypto like this, even if it moves into health. Now, do we have the high volumes on the down bars? I still have high volumes. They are on the top sides, not the bottoms. Here's another one. The high volumes on the top bars. Let me zoom in real quick so you guys can see it. Okay? So you know I'm not making this stuff up. The high volume bars are still on where? On those top ones, not the bottom one. You can say, well, JSong, what about this one? It's on the bottom one. Sure, but it's immediately offset by this one. So these are like a test in a rising market. In a downtrend, you hunt up moves and you take the trade in kind. That's how you trade. To answer the question that Arshan had, how would we want to practically trade something like this? You'd probably want to, or how would we want to generally trade? The easiest way that I like to do, although there's many methods to trading, I like to hunt up moves in downtrends with weakness in the background. Okay? I like to take trades that have strong weakness in the background, clear territories. I'll put this in my notes real quick. How to trade. Hunt up moves in downtrends to short with weaknesses in the background and in weakness territories. For bullish trades, I hunt, and in down markets. For bullish trades, I hunt down moves in up markets with health in the background. and in healthy territories. Okay, that's my trading system in a nutshell. Okay, for bearish trades, hunt up moves and downtrends with weakness in the background. Number 1. Okay, and in weakness territories. Number 2, and in down markets. Okay, that's basically it. This is Song's basic trading system and how you can use that. Now, there's lots of trading systems. Song's basic trading method. If you're gonna use this method, is a very basic method that can be applied with any existing trading system that you may have. This method can easily be applied to any trading system. For targets, I use target system, a part of Song's art called the sword method. Type lessons for further info in the search bar on patreon.com /JSong _7, I think it is, right? For further information about our art. So I use the art. These art lessons help create maps. Okay, that are used for territories. Other systems that you may see online may also help with territories, but I don't really see many territory type systems. I do not generally see many territory type systems. Okay, that's how I like to trade. That's why I really like art better. Okay, target system is very powerful within our art. Target system is powerful in our art, and it's akin to order block. Okay, there's a lot of order block teachers out there in the world. All right, but I will put this here in our notes for today, for December 8th. There it is. Okay, Arshad, you'll have that. So if I was in this trade, do I have strong health in the background? No, I do not. Okay, I still have evidence only of weakness in the background. Look at the high volumes are at the highs. So I do not have health in this. We only have the high volumes on the up bars, up moves. So this would be a very strong candidate for bearishness in the background. Okay, so this one we would say, if I was going to add a commentary, I would draw something like this, and I'll give you guys this commentary. Okay, we're doing this together so you guys know. So in a nutshell, why would I not take this trade even if this is health? Example, December 31st, 2029. Why would I not take this trade? Okay, let's just talk about examples of why we would not want to trade this right now. Okay. Number one, we may be biased. Number one, we may be biased in the market to the bearish side. Now, again, this is just me personally. If you guys are bullish in the market, then that you wouldn't write this as your answer. For me, that's part of me. This is my personal current analysis. Okay, so if I had a very different analysis, or I felt safer, or I felt we were a safer place, then that would look different. Okay, and I'll even write that down. This would look different if I felt the market is in a safer place. Bullish place, a safer bullish place. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, what's another reason why we would not want to take this trade even if it's in health? So I would not want to take this trade even if it's matching a healthy territory, even if it is in a healthy area. And it isn't in a healthy area because we're on this side. But I don't trade everything I see that is in health. What would be the next things we want to look at? There's a few things we can look at, but why? Let's just take 3 more minutes. The volume, number 2, that's important. Number 2, the volume. See, these are lessons are going to keep you as a safe trader, right? This is going to protect you. Saving money in bearish markets is just as important as making money, right? Because who cares if you made a money on a Shiba trade, but if the market comes right back down, you lose everything, or whatever the trade is you take. Luna Classic, Volt. You know what I mean? Like, we need to make sure you keep your wealth or walk away from the table with that wealth that you make. Okay. Volume. This is another reason not to take this trade. The volume is high volume at the highs into weakness in a downtrend. This means selling was taking place. For volume to be high and buying to take place, it would have needed to be on the down move / down bar. And generally, in the overall macro, we want rising volume to show professional interest, and that's important. So prices can fall in an uptrend on lack of interest. Prices can fall in an uptrend on lack of interest by slowing down, and they can rise in a downtrend on lack of interest, but this is not wise without professional backing. In our previous example, we saw price going the wrong way. We saw price going the wrong way up on lack of interest, right? But we also saw the professionals doing something. But we also saw the professionals jumping ship just before the end. If it was buying now, in keeping with this theory, or this type of, I'll just use the word theory. In keeping with this theory, if price rises on lack of interest, generally we would look for large players to buy just before the rise. And in the same way we saw, what did we see? We saw the volume closing off the highs. This time we would close off the lows with closes off the lows. Okay, so that means that we would look for volume spikes, something like this, on these down bars, really high ones, and then we would look for the candles themselves to look something like this. Okay, so we would look for a few candles that maybe look like that. We don't have that. We do have the lack of interest in the background, in the volume, but we don't have any of this. It's missing. So I don't care, therefore, if I'm in health, I don't have it in the background. We don't see this, so we don't care. It makes sense? So again, going back to our previous example, we went up on lack of interest, but we saw the professionals react. Okay? Moving up on lack of interest, professionals reacted. Moving up on lack of interest, long is the wrong direction. Interest is the wrong direction. And we saw professional interest to the downside. Professional selling. The lesson is simply this. Use professional activities to gain a strong advantage. This is found often in the volume. Okay, I'm going to add that to our little trading system. Okay, here. And there it goes. So these are the reasons why we would not want to take this trade. Okay. We not want to do it here. Now maybe this volume here is part of this. Okay, remember these two get canceled out. This is where we'd have some kind of interest in it, but it's little. Okay. So here's where we would be looking. So again, this is selling, buying, and this is where they cancel each other out. Got it? Are we having fun yet? Okay. This is a good one, and it gets us in health. Now, if we do move into health, what's the next thing I need to be looking at before I go up, before I finish this? Okay, there's something needed before I go up. The last thing we needed, I go up. How far am I supposed to go up? If I'm trading this, I say, oh, okay, either way, I'm going to buy this. All right, okay, if it goes up, how high am I supposed to go? How can we calculate that? That's quick. It's really easy. Okay, Arshad, we can do a DP. Yeah, you can do DP. DP stronger when you have evidences that oscillation matches. So that's one thing you can do, but that's not where we're actually going to go first. But yes, that is DP. Okay, there's another direction that we can use. If we're going to buy this anyway, which I wouldn't, but if we were, what would we want to do? There's one more. I really want you guys to get this. It's super important. We move into health here. How high am I supposed to go? What do we got to calculate first? Starts with the E. Starts with the E. Event line. That's right. We got to calculate the last event that happened. It was this angle here. That was the last event line. So we'll now make a phantom of that. That's going to be the ghost angle, EVP. And where do I put it, please? Somebody tell me where I put it. Draw it on my chart where I'm supposed to put it so we can calculate if things are on the up and up. Nobody knows where to put it? Yeah, that's right. Good job, House. You're going to put it right there. The highest energy center in the area. It's going to be there. So just like that. All right. So in this case, price broke above and went exactly there to that event line, to the exact number, 014. Then it came down. Do you guys see this? Is this good or what? We broke above the health, went right to the resistance and came right back down, but we sat down on that. So that's a good sign that we're going up. Okay. Now, if I wanted to trade this intraday, I could probably use something like this and say, okay, that is where we're supposed to stop. We stopped, we came back down. Let's go to a 3-hour chart to maybe just advance this real quick. It was a real quick move. So we went up, came down, and went up. That would be a good thing for this. So if we were trading, it would look like that. Okay. So in real life, we're supposed to hit here, hit exactly. EV Phantom. EV Phantom. And we could project this easier. So we get there, great. Now we come down very close to the low, or pretty close to it, and we get a nice bounce. So that's a good thing. And we're still in health based on this foundational area. Now let's draw that foundational area to continue confirming if we're on the up and up for this trade. So if I was end this on a 3-hour chart, the foundational area is here. Is this right? This is what we do all the time, right? Foundational area. By using this art, you guys are going to be very skilled. So there's our foundational area hit. Make sense? So this is actually a good spot, not that one. This is actually a good spot for this to be bounced. Okay? If I'm going to be buying with a breakout, if all I had was just this segment and a breakout, I'd use here. Now, because I have this foundational area, I can do a few things with that foundational area. I can duplicate it out, put it at the highest energy centers in the foundational area, make sure I'm going straight up and down. Here's my cores. It's going to be about here. And here's my wick match. Why I say wick match is this is going to be here and here. I'm right, but I was trying to connect that one. I couldn't connect it. But I am able to get to this core. Now the highest core in this area is going to be there. That's the next area. This should be our resistance. Okay. So if I'm using the highest energy centers or the foundational areas, either one, they're going to evolve along with the curvature. Since the curvature is still working, the highest energy center in between the area next would have been this one. Place here. Okay. We can get that because now we're still within our rules within this curvature. The highest energy center between this curvature is there. You got it? All right. In the beginning, you only have this one, and that will give you a resistance somewhere here. But now we have a more accurate. So now our next resistance is here, and our next health, therefore, can be there. So if I'm looking for this to go up next, I might be looking at that to continue. Otherwise, I might be coming back down to there. Okay? It's not saying the move is infallible and we're going to continue going up, but that's going to be the next areas you can start tracking this towards. So those numbers right now for this chart are 0.0132. And the top 0.0150. So we already are doing really good on this one, if all that we were using was this. Okay, not my cup of tea, but so far that's basically more or less what we're looking at. So let's go back. Event line's good. This is good. Only one more thing I wanted to share with this one. That was the, okay, we got the EV, logarithmic. Let me put back on my logarithmic. Okay, in health here, there was something I don't want to miss. I was like, I'm going to tell you guys this. I'm going to tell it. All right, yes. In a downtrend, make sure you hunt your up move, and that's going to be this one coming up. So it's not in play yet, so I'm not okay to short. Not okay to short this yet. That was basically the one we draw, more or less. That's that. Okay, so not my cup of tea right now. It's a little bit bullish. There's one more way we can tell how high this is going to go. And what is the other way? Okay, somebody tell it to me, and then we'll be done with our tutorials for today. So glad you guys are taking these classes, learning these things, so we can practically apply what we're using. DP, we already did a DP on gesture, which is about right there. We can do a DP on event line, provided the oscillation is strong. This one we do have 1, 2, maybe even if I drop it down to the core area, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and a strong support. So if I was using this, the original event line, or yeah, the phantom, which is here, maybe there, okay, then I can see this oscillation might be viable. And then what we can do is we can duplicate it and place it there. Okay, so it's exactly what we're going to do. And we're going to try to do that. So let's do that now. We're going to take this angle, just drawing this a measurement, simple trend line from the top to the bottom. And these can be any angle. It doesn't matter the angle when it comes to straights. Parabolics, they need to be straight up and down. But these, it can be anywhere along the side because it's still the same measurement. Okay, and you can fiddle with that if you don't believe me. So this would tell us we're looking now to the DP, which is somewhere there. Okay, good. And currently that DP is sitting at a dynamic negative, so the DP is angled downward. And that means that as time goes on, we're going to lose value in the high. So if price goes up today, it has a chance to hit 0.17. later on has a chance to hit 014, and the difference is about from January 16th. And then they come together at a vortex somewhere there. But just giving us an average of about 2 days, we'd be looking at 16016. Okay, so that's something else. Good. All right, what else? Okay, what else? So this is the DP, and I'll put it at the top. How else could I find out how high this crypto would go so that I can practically use this on my exchange and take a target even if I am buying this? Okay. See, I'm bullish the market. I'm bullish this trade. I'm going to take this trade no matter what. And I measure now we can possibly make some money on this. It's the current price here. We still got up to 14-15%. Would I do DP on the parabolic? You can. You could. Right now it's going to give me a smaller continuation of health, and that'd be good if I was micromanaging this trade. So if I'm going back down to a 3-hour chart, my 3 hours still holding, that means I can use this price as a continuation indicator. Price is the best indicator of itself. That price is 0.15. So I could use that right there. So if I see price hanging out above here, I know I have a higher chance to do here. One trader, he was a wise millionaire trader back in the day, back in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, something like that. And what he would do is he said, Von something, I got to find his name, Von something. I saw a few of his old speeches. And what he would do is he would only add to his position after his position was winning. He would take a small position and then he would let it go into its next territory or his next profit area. He said, if it went there, then I would add to my position 1. And then I would add another, a 4th. And then finally, in the final stretch, I would add my last 4th piece. And he would always break his trades into basically 4 pieces. I said, that's perfect system of money management within sword method. You take a small position now. If it starts going to the next sections, you can add another position in the next legs of the journey. If it goes into the next health, then you can add your position there. And then you can finally take your final profits where you believe you need to take profit or whatever. But what he would do is he would add to his positions only when it's winning. He would never throw good money after bad. If the position wasn't doing good, he would not touch it. So that's how he would always break it up at least into 4 parts and trade it only after it was in position. And the other thing he did, he said, is he would always bring up his stop losses. So he'd always bring up his stop losses as he's in profit. I started recently doing this in my personal trades. I like it. He says, because of this way, you don't have to always be right with all of your trades. You can just manage it a lot better. So I really like that. Okay. Only adding to your position if they continue in health and raising stop losses. Okay. As they move into those territories. So in other words, your area on where you're going to cut your loss now becomes more apparent. So if I go into health but I lose it, I know the trade's probably not doing good. I'm going to cut my loss and maybe try to get it back cheaper if I can. Otherwise, I'm just out of the trade. All right, what's another way we can find out how high price is going to go? Now that we got all these areas here, we can correlate and cross-correlate. Areas on map. This is DPs. We can do EV phantoms, thundercuts, and what else? There's a strong one. I already gave it to you guys earlier. It's in my little thing I gave you guys. What was it? What are we thinking? How can we track how high price should go? It's really easy. You guys got this. I believe in you. Nobody? All right. The answer is target system. Target system. What I say, for targets, I use target system. I'll even put it in all caps since you guys just forget. All right. It's very important, which is fixed range volume profile, aka fixed range volume profile. Okay, we call it target system because we use it for targets. This is a part of Jason's art called the sword method. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the target system, and if you guys never done it before, it's going to be under forecasting and measurement. And then you're going to go to fixed range volume profile. Hold it down, add it to your favorites. Now what we're going to do is if we got this in the background, it only works with stuff in the background, territories we've been before. We've been everywhere from here to here. So if we're back up, we have that in the background. So we're going to take the high, we're going to bring it down to the low. And if you got two lows, use the farthest one out, and two highs, use the highest one out. And then what we're going to be doing is we're going to be capturing the low. Okay? And other teachers use the delta. I often don't use the deltas, but I like using the lows because they're hit all the time. Okay? And then the other one I use is swing targets, which is between the two highest peaks. In this case, I use that area. So the pink target, which is our swing target, is here. So we'll mark those on the board. So Thundercuts, swing target system, and that includes targets and swing targets. All right, good. Let's do these targets together. We're going to just draw a rectangle in the appropriate color. First there, we're going to stretch it out, and that gives us a very strong high if the crypto was going higher at the time. And that's going to be our first big target. And then another target would be there. Oh, and they need to be teal color. That's how I like to draw mine. You guys can draw them in any color, but I try to color code with consistency. So this is going to be here. Let's draw now our swing target, which is going to be approximately that higher one. And now we're left with a map like this. Okay? So we're now left with a map that looks like this more appropriately. And to the downside, we can draw a target as well, because I see a little lighter target here. It's not in play. Okay, so if we are bullish in the market, we would say there may be some targets here. There's a lot of targets that go in the market unhit. All right, but if we were trying to, we can get those prices for what they are. All right, so that's something we can use. Now, if I'm doing a smaller target, and I say I don't think we're going to get that high, I'm going to use a smaller swing area to measure and calculate. In this case, I'd only want to use these areas here. See? So now if I do another target based on these highs, I'm going to go up to the last high, which is somewhere about right there, and this low, and it's going to give me another picture. In this case, we got much smaller targets that are right here. Okay, I'll even put these in white so you guys can see right now. Does this make sense? So where is price right now? It's hitting a target and should reject off of that target. That's where we're at. Okay, there's another target on the low side right about there. Okay, and one more that is here. These are the targets that are viable right now based on the data from here to here. I only meant, now look how accurate this is. Look how accurate this is. We only measured, again, from there to there, but it forecasted in the future we should reject here, we should bounce close to here, and we should reject here. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? That's amazing, isn't it? So we're rejecting here, bouncing here, very close, very accurately. Okay, target system is awesome. You guys are not using it, you're missing out. Okay. So as it is right now, that's going to be a very big target for us if we were trading target system with the smaller move. Okay. If I wanted a more medium move, and I said, you know what, I think the market's going to go up still more. Let's go to the next swing. So I did the large swing, and now I'm going to be doing this swing, which is more intermediate. This one's going to give me a more target that's a little higher, closer to there. And let's just make this reddish color here. Okay. And it's going to highlight this one still. So we'll give that a little, that border color. And there we go. So now we're measuring a larger target. This is something you guys can use if you're trading, you're trying to find some more targets. This is a very powerful thing. So we can now put a lot of emphasis, therefore, on where? About right here, that breakout that we were talking about. If I get that one, then I might want to take the trade to 16, maybe even up to that next target, which is 0.0173 to 0.0177. All right. That was fun. Any other questions, comments, thoughts regarding this? I think we're going to end that tutorial here. I'd love to show you guys in slow motion what I'm doing, how we can use these kinds of things to navigate price, both small and big time frames, using this. All right. God bless you guys. I hope you guys had a fun time and keep safe out there in the markets. Trade territory to territory. And keep safe. Now, again, as I said in the book, I'm not advocating for this particular trade. I don't like the background. Not my cup of tea. I'm not really going to be bullish very much on that crypto. I would rather it go up without me, and I'll be like, oh, okay, fine, great, it moved. By the way, I had a lot of comments about Volt just this weekend. Remember, a lot of people were like saying, yeah, Volt went up, but no, it went exactly to our resistance lines, exactly to the T. It went exactly there. We needed a health above there, not at there. We're only hit there and came right back down. I'm not interested in this move of Volt at the moment. Again, I see more weakness than anything. This is the support, and now what's happening today, we got 10 hours, but if I'm 10 hours from now, I'm closing still below this area in this territory, come on now, this is telling me everything I need to know. If I'm seeing exactly what I'm expecting to see, and that is closes off the highs to the lows. That's exactly what we saw. In a downtrend, you hunt up moves, right? This looks like a large shakeout. People were chasing this candle up here, but I was like, no, I don't see it. Guys, you got to have it in the background. You got to have that volume. Now we have ultra high volume, but the closes are all in the wrong spot. Look we have ultra high volume, but the closes are on the wrong spot. This is very dangerous. So I'm going to say it again because I keep getting asked about it. The Volt, December 13th, specific high, low numbers were given on previous Volt charts, and they were hit as important areas. 6021 is where much selling took place. In those weak bullish positions, they lost a lot of money. This was the best place they can get out and break even. That was that place. And the reason for that, we covered that a lot. We covered this oscillation. It was easy to see. The best place you can get out is at that oscillation at the bottom. Look, it's the lowest part. Just move it to the side. And what do you got? That's the resistance. It should be right at this bottom. So we already have that exactly there. That's why we see a lot of the selling there. And we slam back down into that area. Why? We have it. We know about it. You guys know about it. It's nothing new. This is why we train our eyes to see things in the oscillations. So I said this. In addition, local and professional buying entered. That was confirmed. Local buying and December 7th to 2027. But if there's more health, it needs to be above the 6 zeros. 10 area. So 6 zeros, 10, it needs to be above there. Okay. Finally, the long-term move above 6 zeros, 211 needs to 211, and that's going to be that top one right there. Yeah, 2 above, 211. That's where we need it. If the market tanks down, which I expect in the future, the liberal DP of 7 zeros, 54. That's where I'm looking to get. Right there, okay, liberal, that one right there, okay. Volt bullish support held strong with professionals, buyers entering local move. More health is needed for a sustained up move. So if we're gonna sustain, if we were going to back to sustain above these things, we need to have some more. What did I write? More health. We need the next health, and that's here. Okay. So Volt support held strong with professional buyers buying entering the local up move. More health is needed for the sustain. So if it's going to stay like that and continue, we need new health. Liberal down target is still in play. Be careful long term, as this is be careful long term at this time of longer term bullish positions. Be careful of that. All right, so that was our previous analysis to be very careful with this. It's not looking good, and now it's looking even worse. All right, so let's put this in our little targets for Volt. Here, we're going to do this one, Volt. So Volt, December 29th, 2025. As discussed previously, oops, sorry. December 31st, 2025. As discussed previously, much danger is in Volt, with prices strongly rejecting those highs. Health that was needed for sustained moves up, for sustained bullish moves, did not come in. And weakness is appearing. Remember, in the larger story, price is closing off the highs on ultra high volume. If this is in the background, and Gavin Holmes and Tom Williams, they always talked about what the background is. What is the background? What is the background? What is the background? It's super important. We have a way of measuring the background. If in the background there is weakness, which there is in this downtrend, then use this as a heavy warning. Selling is occurring. Okay? Large selling. All right. Okay. So what are we looking at here? I'm going to show you quickly on a weekly chart. Didn't we cover this many times today, right? Volt. We covered this so many times today, right? In our background, what do we got? We covered this type of move. Okay, lots of times today we were looking at that. This is the, you guys see? House? Question? Shakeout, yeah, probably shakeout. Very large shakeout. We can add that to our notes here today. We can say, it is possible the up move was only a shakeout. Which type of indication is a shakeout? Bullish or, sorry, how do we read a shakeout? There's a certain type of category shakeouts are. Does anybody remember? Shakeouts are often a type of blank indication. What's the answer? Shakeouts are often a blank type of indication. The answer is continuation indication. Okay? Shakeouts are often a continuation indicator. Remember that in your notes, put that in, okay? I teach this often, are often continuation indications. All right, that means they continue. If the price is bearish in the past, bearish background, what are we looking at? Bearish future, shakeout. Okay, so we're looking low for Volt based on this kind of data. Again, we're closing off the highs on ultra high volume. Okay, I'm not making this stuff up. We calculated this to the 10th letter. I don't know what that means. What does the 10th letter mean, Jason? I don't know. It means we mailed 10 letters already. I don't know what we. Okay, let's look at the volume. I'm gonna hide my chart. 10th letter. I like that word though. Okay, we're gonna hide our drawings. I'm gonna pull up the volume. You're gonna look at the volume yourself. Okay. You say, well, Jason, maybe there's some buying that happened here. Sure. But the very next thing we do is we come back down on same volume. Very high volume. It's possible that. Now you say, okay, what if it is buying? It is. If it is, we still need health, right? I still want health to be safe. So even if I'm wrong, I need to be there. Even if this is bullish, we need to be in a safer spot. And I'm going to write that down. Even if this is bullish or buying is coming in, we need to be in a safer position. 6 zeros whatever prices are around there, it's going to be 11, right? 60 is 11 areas above with closes and possibly structures. Okay, building above there. That would be ideal. Okay, get me above there. But what I'm seeing is not that. What I'm seeing now is this weakness with that in the background. So this is why I don't trust Volt. Okay, so not only do I need to be above here for me to have a chance, but right now I'm not in that area. Does that make sense? So if I have to fight there, it's not good. So this is why I would not trust a structure like this. So even if I like Volt, people are saying, what's happening? I think this is a large profit taking. Again, why? Because we've already discussed it. We've already previously discussed it. That was the best place to take profit from buyers who entered the market. This is where they take profit at. We've talked about it. We've talked about it. We've talked about it. We've talked about it. It's exactly what I would do. It's exactly what the professionals would do. Does that make sense to everybody? So, in my opinion, I think this is selling. I think this is dumping after the fact in its context. Okay? The health is nowhere near where we're at. So, I got to be careful. Not only do I need that local one that we've been talking about, but I also need this one. I need both. If I'm going to be talking about Volt seriously, I need those two. Otherwise, the only thing I have is this one. And that's where we're at right now. Bearish territory. Current bearish territory, or current territory is bearish. All right, any questions? My thoughts, opinions on why structurally I'm thinking the way I'm thinking right now. And that means that Volt may have its heyday later on. If I'm right, that means Volt may have a heyday later on. There may be something that is going to be in the future, and we'll look forward to it. And some of these holders who don't get out, or here, even if it does come down, they may come in, but we definitely need those healths to get us there. Final questions, Volt, and then I'll end for today. We'll say a prayer. Okay? So I need those. Okay? Going once. Going twice. If continuation type of indication. If the previous direction was down, the next direction is likely down after shakeout is complete. Current closes indicate bearish territory. Use extreme caution for bullish trades. But Jason, Volt moved up 100% in one day. 100% in 1 week. More 100%. Look, moved up 200%. Then the next, it came back down. All the way down that same 200%. Then moved up 140%. Then moved back down 140%. And then it moved back up 96%. It moved back down 96%, and we're down. I don't care about those intra volatility. That's a surefire way. It's a very dangerous type of thing. We're not talking about an uptrend here. We're not talking about health. We're just talking about, I think, shakeout. All right. Let's copy this for your notes, and I'll read the final comments for you guys. That's not how you spell extreme, is it? There's an E at the end. One day I'm gonna take some spelling classes. The last time I took a spelling class, it was weird, guys. I walked in and they were doing all these. It was weird. All these people were manifesting demons and stuff, and they were like, they were not speaking in tongues. It was weird. Maybe I took the wrong spelling class, guys. Is that wrong? Nobody laughed. That's a funny joke, guys. That's a very funny joke. Did that really happen? No, it didn't happen. Just kidding. Oh gosh, spell, got it. Spell, anyway. I'll stick to the only holy jokes, guys. All right. I'm a very holy man. A lot of people don't know that. I'm so holy, even my underwear has holes in them. Father, we thank you for this time of this great year that you've given us here. And we thank you for all the good wisdom that you're teaching us. I thank you for the things that you told me just 4 days ago. I thank you for your great assistance in all the great work that we're doing. Lord, we pray that we'd be on guard against all kinds of greed. I pray that we pass our test. Pray that we would all pass our tests that are given to us with millions and billions and with our $10 in our bank accounts. May the money never have us. May it never overcome our hearts. As you told Pastor John years ago, when the money no longer moves you, I will use you to move the money. But we have often been moved by the money. Even in our trading. How many of us have took on trades where we couldn't even follow our own rules because we were so guided by our greeds and our fears? And if we can't manage at these low levels, how will we when you give us true wealth? He who was a faithful steward, he'll be good when his master comes and finds him being faithful. And that's not just with the spiritual things, but also with the tangible things that you've given us. If the money ruins and corrupts our hearts now, if we steal, if we can't even give tithe and offering now, if we can't do the things of God, if we can't be good stewards now with our little, how can we be faithful in much? For it is written, he who is faithful in little will be blessed in much. And if he who is not faithful in little, he will not be blessed in much. We know this because we must be faithful in little to be blessed with much. We must be able to be a steward over another man's house, another man's resource, if we're going to be a wise king and ruler over all of Egypt. I pray for our community, Lord, that you'll give us deliverance over the spirits of greed and fear. For too many years they have bound our community, spirits of greed and fear. In Jesus' name, depart from us, in Jesus' name. We recognize the weaknesses of ourselves and we shore up our defenses spiritually because you told us to be on guard against all kinds of greed. In Jesus' name, set us free, Lord. Set us free so that the money no longer moves us and that we can serve you faithfully and do what your Holy Spirit prompts us to do with or without. So we can follow systems that you may have led us to or guided us to. We can have rules to help us. You gave Gideon a specific mission to conquer the land, but you also told him you had too many. You're going to do it only with 300. You gave him a little bit to be faithful with, and that was all that was needed. And it was a great victory. But he had to trust you with that little. He had to be willing to send the others home. And he did. He said, I'll be faithful even with this little. But he needed confirmations, and you gave him confirmations. He needed something tangible, and you gave him something tangible. In the same way, Lord, show us grace. When we are fearful, we don't know how. We need something tangible to hold on to. Give us confirmations in the markets. Give us confirmations in our directions. Give us confirmations on where we're going. And let us be faithful with those little. Once we know that you're always with us, it'll be much easier. Although life isn't about comfort, David stepped out of his comfort and fought the Goliath with only 5 stones. 5 smooth stones and the Spirit of the Lord. And at your prompting, he went. That was all that was needed. But you saw privately that he was faithful with the bear, and he was faithful with the lion. He was faithful with the sheep, and Joseph was faithful in another man's house. All of them, you seemingly brought them to the top out of nowhere. But there was a faithfulness in the innermost parts, and that's my prayer for our community, Lord, that you would give them faithfulness in the innermost parts, that they would guard themselves against all kinds of greed and fear, so they can take disciplined trades, get out of stuff they know they should get out of, not think about the money, but think about the faithfulness, think about their stewardship. Give them courage to do things based on what they can see, something tangible. Keep them safe, Lord. Guard them. Give them wisdom on how to maneuver in and out of any type of market. Whatever they're trading, whatever they're doing, whatever they're holding, whatever you're leading them. And I pray that they seek you for your leading. And they hold the stuff they need to hold and minimize the stuff they should not. Whatever the case is, may they follow the prompting of the Holy Spirit for the right times and the seasons, so that we plant in season and out of season the right things. And out of season we would harvest when it's time to harvest, and plant when it's time to plant. And have the patience, discipline, discretion, confirmations to know the difference. Whatever the case, Lord, for our trading, may we be and following your Spirit. May we no longer be ruled by our fleshly and earthly emotions, our soulish realm, our soulish emotions, but be led by your Spirit. In 2026, Lord, I pray that you would continue to speak to them about the purposes that are coming up in the new seasons, for the spring is coming, a new season, new life. And I pray, Lord, that you would reveal to them these seasons now, what is for them in this year. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. I hope you enjoyed today's message. I gave a very strong prophetic type of sermon this past Sunday in Alluring Part 1. I'm going to be continuing Sunday on our WordRoom Part 2. I'll be back on Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks for praying with us. Thanks for joining us in our WordRoom earlier today. And I hope those messages bless you. I'll post all of your commentary on our website, patreon.com. And then remember, you guys can always find lessons and tutorials. But I love to take Wednesdays as our day to slow down, show you guys what I'm doing, why we're thinking, why we navigate a crypto the way we navigate, why we navigate a stock the way we navigate, how it works, what's going on, the type of teachings that are used behind the thoughts how I gave you that kind of shape or way of looking at the market and applying the art of our sword method. We hope it blesses you and serves you well throughout the years, and especially in bearish markets, I hope it protects you and saves you lots of money, even if it's only doing something to as much as to protect you. But in a bullish market, in a certain crypto or a certain stock or forex, I hope it does you and serves you very well when you see these things happening before your very eyes. God bless you. We'll be right back. Remember, nothing in this video is never financial investment or trading advice of any kind. Everything's just for entertainment, educational, and comedic purposes only. I eat red crayons for breakfast. Trading the markets carries substantial risk. Never trade more than you can afford to lose, and especially be aware against high leverage trading. Past performance is never indicative of future performance, and I'll see you guys Saturday. God bless you.